folks, this is John. This is the second entry in my vlog in my series, We're Retiring to the Philippines. Yay, I'm ready. You know, of course, to do this, we've got such a huge checklist of stuff that has to be done. I need a passport. My world travelings before, all I needed was a little green ID card that said Department of Defense on it. Now I need to have a passport. Well, it's in the works, and I'll probably have it in a couple of weeks. Then I've got to work with the Philippine government to get my visa, you know, and they have got a couple of things that make it real. They're trying to attract people to retire there, and hopefully I'm one of the ones they want to attract. But that'll take some time too. We've got to sell all our stuff here. I mean, we're shipping a bunch of stuff over there. Yes, we are. Stuff like clothes and dishes and pots and pans. And of course my books and all that good stuff. But, you know, we live on a farm. I live on, you know, 9 acres of heaven here. And I've got to sell this and all that stuff. In fact, that's why I look as ratty as I do today, because that's what I was doing. You know, it was really sad. I sold an old trailer I had back there, and the guy who came to get it, he wasn't the guy that bought it. He was the guy that they talked into coming and getting it. And he turned out to be an auctioneer, and he looked around, and next thing I know, I've sold him, you know, fence gates, and I've sold him hay rings and cattle feeders. And you know, he's making a serious bid for my tractor, which was the first brand new tractor I ever owned 15 years ago. But now it's time to sell it, because I don't think we can fit it in a balikbayan box to send back to the Philippines. It's kind of sad, you know. This was the first real piece of land that I'd ever owned. I mean, I'd owned houses before, but here I've got this acreage, you know, and my dog had room to run, and you know, I could walk out in the back and just enjoy peace and quiet and nature. And so it's with a little bit of sadness that I'm selling it. But you know what? Sometimes that's what has to happen in order for things to go on. I need the money too, to be honest with you. Looking on the internet at the stuff the Philippine government wants me to do, I got to put some money in kind of like an escrow account, so that if they got to throw me out or bury me or something, you know, they've got the wherewithal to do it. And that's like 10 grand. And while, yeah, we've got a nest egg that we can pull a 10 grand out of, I'd really rather not. So let's see, what do we have left to do? We have to get my passport. We have to get my visa. I have to get my retirement stuff figured out, which means I've got to have an address, a bank, and whatever. But we're going down to Houston, where there's a branch of the Bank of the Philippines. And we're going to set up getting money transferred into that, so I can have Social Security, my school pension, things like that, shipped down there. Nilda, of course, would leave today if she could. She's been packing for, I think, we've been married 40 years. She's been packing to go back home for probably 38 of it. And I totally understand that. And she's just so excited. She can't hardly sleep. She's grouchy. She's grumpy. But you know what? I understand that. She's lived away from her own for so long that this is her chance to go back and just relax and be a Filipino mama. And you know what? I'm all for it. I'm fixing to move her there, you know, if it kills me. Now, I promised on the last tape that I'd talk about why I quit in school. 3 years ago, it was my stated intention to teach until I was 70. Okay, technically that's 8 more years. However, where I'm working at is, that's not going to work. I'll either die or I'll go completely crazy. And so I need to get out. I think I've got a bad case of what they call teacher burnout. And here's why. The people that are in charge could care less about kids. I mean, I'm just going to be real about it. They could care less about kids. It's about who gets to be in charge to do the least. All right? We've got kids that, you know, 9th, 10th, 11th grade that still can't read and write. Instead of dealing with the problem, they're sitting there holding people like me at fault. And, you know, they get these kids when they get up into high school, and it's my fault all of a sudden that they can't read. Instead of dealing with it in the third flipping grade, which is where you need to deal with them not reading, they've just passed them on and passed them on until they get up here. Now all of a sudden it's our fault. The state of Tennessee, and just about every state in the union, folks, Tennessee is certainly not unique in this. They just want somebody to blame. They don't want to fix the problem. They want somebody to blame for the problem, and teachers are it. You know, they've got this insane score that if your kids don't score a certain score on this idiotic achievement test, then it's the teacher's fault. Well, I mean, that's like saying, you know, a shortfall in a budget's a politician's fault. You know, that's just stupid. Can't think of a nice way to say it. And yeah, I'm sure I'm pissing people off by saying this, but you know what? I'm almost 62 years old. I'm ready to get out of here, and I don't give a shit if I'm pissing people off. I mean, there you go. I've just gone right out and said it. I started teaching late. Okay, I didn't start teaching till 1998. A lot of reasons for it. One was I was in a position where, well, I needed money. I didn't need that kind of money. I mean, teaching pays so poorly. You know, I could have done almost anything to make more, including work at McDonald's back at that time, or shoveling dirt, or any of the other things I've been doing the summer before, you know, cracking concrete, you name it. Okay, teaching for the amount of education they require and the amount of effort they require would beyond a shadow of a doubt, the most poorly paid profession in the United States. These burger flippers need to get it straight. No, you're not underpaid as a burger flipper. I'm underpaid as a teacher. Okay, they're not going to do that. In fact, I think it's going to get worse. What they want to do is they're building up for a massive bloodletting, and by that I mean, you look at teachers like me. I've got time, experience, and degrees, and that puts me pretty far up the food chain, at least in this little county that I work in. And frankly, they could get rid of me tomorrow and hire 2 teachers with 0 experience for the same amount of money. And you know, and they're going to do that. So they're going to make life uncomfortable for everyone because they want us to quit. Well, I'm going to accommodate them. I'm going to quit. I walk in, I'm going to resign. I'm not going to do it yet. Okay? But when I do, I'm going to walk in and do it the right way. I worry about today's kids. I really and honestly do. We've got kids graduating from high school that can't read, can't write. They've got all this wonderful technology. They've got a smartphone in their pocket. Some of them have iPads, computers. Don't have a clue on how to use them for anything, except that you know, type in something for Google or get on social media. And there's so much more you can do. And the schools are totally uninterested in teaching them. Before I cut this off, let me tell a story about how education in the United States really goes. I had a student a couple of years ago, we'll just call him Matt. Matt was a very gifted with his hands, very gifted with metal. Every day he'd come up to me and he would show me something he had done in shop the day before. He'd built this, he'd designed that. I mean, he'd bring me little things that he'd welded and things like that and machined. And he'd talk to me about how the machines work. I mean, very animated, very knowledgeable. Okay. But however, Matt's being labeled as a loser because, you know, he walks into a regular class like biology, my class, and it holds no interest to him. None whatsoever. Now, of course, the Nazis at the state and in our own central office are going to say, well, it's your job to motivate that young man. Well, you know what? No, it's not. It's your job to teach him a skill he needs to survive in the world. And teaching him biology or, you know, or any, you know, English 4, any of this other crap is not doing that. Yeah, you understand? It's not doing it. You know, as a welder, he'll walk out with a career that's almost almost recession-proof, okay? And he'll make more than most of us working and teaching, and good for him. And what's really bad is he knows that. So Matt would come in, he'd show me all this wonderful stuff, and I'd say, okay, Matt, put that stuff away. We got to do biology now. And you could literally watch the boy's eyes glaze over. Okay? It was as if we were shooting him. We need to do something with education, folks. We need to teach our people. Not everybody needs to go to college. Not everybody needs to be on the honor roll. We need to come up with what's the best they can do again. Okay? When I was a kid, vocational was a thing, you know, people did. I mean, my aunts and uncles did it. All right? And they did very well for themselves in life. They're not ignoramuses out there, you know, running, you know, letting the world think for them. They learned how to think for themselves. We taught them how to read and write and do math, and then they specialized in something. And what is wrong with that? Anyway, I don't know what's wrong with that. Here's what I know is I'm out of it. Okay, so I've been on my soapbox enough. It's time for me to get off of it. Next time, we're going to talk a little bit more about some of the stuff that I've got to get off my lazy butt and do to get us out of here on some kind of a schedule. I'm going to try to put together a checklist and a timeline, and you know, share it with you all and see if I can follow that. Anyway, till next time, this is John. Noda's not here; she's working, of course. Hopefully, I'll get her on one of these videos someday. But anyway, this is John, and we're retiring to the Philippines, and I'll talk to you later.